Fleetwood is a wonderful place. The wonderful place. The wonderful place. Is a wonderful place. Is a wonderful place.
Well, the origins of Fleetwood go back to a greenfield site on a huge rabbit warren covered in sand dunes.
The thing that I like about Fleetwood is it was originally a rabbit warren. So just thinking about that we weren't the first thing to live here is just amazing.
Well, it was Peter Hesketh's Fleetwood's brainchild. He wanted to develop the site and to develop the town. But lots of the town plan and lots of the buildings were by Decimus Burton, who was a prominent London architect of the time and a very good friend of Peter Hesketh Fleetwood.
And this is why Fleetwood looks so much like certain parts of London, because it's so well designed. It's a beautiful town.
The first buildings of the town were set up in 1836. There was no work done before that. And there was a distinct town with around 2,500 people inside 10 years.
We know that the Romans came here, the Vikings came here, so the River Wyre and Morecambe Bay was an area well known to mariners, and people must have been fishing in Morecambe Bay for hundreds of years. The trawler owners in Hull and Grimsby, they were looking for a port on the west coast of the country so that they could exploit fishing grounds off Scotland, off Wales, around Ireland. And so they transferred trawlers over to Fleetwood, steam trawlers, and Fleetwood took off as a fishing port.
One of my brothers went to sea, but I married a fisherman. And when they went to Iceland, they'd be away at least 3 weeks at a time and home 3 days. So he was like a mother and father to him as well. You used to worry if it was really, really blowing. You'd think, well, where are they? You know, because some of them didn't come back. I loved him to bits, so you just got on with your life. You knew what your life was going to be like, so you just got on with it. You used to worry because some of them didn't come back. You used to worry because some of them didn't come back. Worry. So you just got on with your life. You knew what your life was going to be like. So you just got on with your life. You knew what your life was going to be like. But I married a fisherman. Didn't come back. Didn't come back. You knew what your life was going to be like. You used to worry because some of them didn't come back. Worry. Some of them didn't come back. So you just got on with your life. You knew what your life was going to be like. You knew what your life was going to be like. So you just got on with your life. You knew what your life was going to be like. So you just got on with your life. You knew what your life was going to be like. But I married a fisherman. I married a fisherman. Fisherman. Fisherman.
I was at sea altogether for 47 years. You'd be away about 18 days, 21 days.
You had to plan your life around a couple of days, you know, seeing to everything. You had all the responsibility of the children, the home, everything really.
The fisherman leads a rough life. They come into situations against the weather. The forces of nature absolutely thrown against them. And they are closer. I've felt this myself, and they're closer to God than any man on earth. And they are closer to God than any man on earth.
At the age of 14 and a half, 15, I decided that was my career at sea. So I went in a ship called the Corelli, and my first trip we went to the Norwegian coast. We went through a hurricane. And the second trip we went to Bird Island. And I've never been as cold and as tired in my life. We was working 24 hours on deck and 6 hours below. And I thought, well, you chose it, and I just carried on from there. And I've never been as cold and as tired in my life.
The forces of nature thrown against them.
What other job did they do 18 hours a day? Or maybe 24 hours a day, or even 36 hours without going to sleep?
Great stories of heroism on these boats. To be at sea with no protection like they were, trying to feed us and to get lost. It was a hard job.
I look back and it even frightens me now. You know, I've never fought a war, but some of these things were just as frightening. You know, I can give you one example. I was on a ship called the Wire Conqueror, and we was what you call iced up, and I mean bad iced up. And we went into a place called Derryfewer, where a few years previously, a whole ship, Kingston Peridot, got sank in the same sound. But this night was just as bad. And we was dodging in what you call dodging in all this chopping ice. Minus 20, 25, oh, hell on earth. But the feeling I had to get them ropes out, and I went through a few nights like this, not on my own, we all did it, and that was absolute terrifying, and I mean terrifying.
And I've never been as cold and as tired in my life.
They come into situations against the weather where the forces of nature absolutely thrown against them, and they are closer. I've felt this myself, and they're closer to God than any man on earth.
Minus 20, 25. Minus 20, 25. Oh, hell on earth. Hell on earth.
And they are closer to God than any man on earth.
Fleetwood is my birth town. And my dad's got roots. Oh, I did have roots here. He was a trawlerman. There's a picture of him in the Fleetwood Museum. So I'm sort of coming. It's like coming full circle now for me, really. Born here, via Cyprus, and I'm back here. I just remember him being away for long periods of time. We're a fishing family. His brother died at sea. His dad was a captain, or a skipper, I should say. Fishing's in the blood, so it's. I don't know, yeah, there's a lot of fishing families in Fleetwood, and a lot of my relatives are also fishing families. Fishing's in the blood. In the blood. There's a lot of fishing families. A lot of fishing families. A lot of fishing families. I just remember him being away for long periods of time. We're a fishing family. His brother died at sea. Died at sea. A lot of fishing families. In the blood. Fishing's in the blood. Fishing's in the blood.
My grandfather, he actually was lost at sea. He was in the Doris. and that was very sad. And I have researched it a little bit to say that there was no trace of the boat or the bodies. There was no trace. There was no trace of the boat or the bodies. Or the bodies. I don't remember it. I mean, it was, my mother was only a girl, and he left a wife and 4 children. It was really sad. Very sad. Very sad. It was really sad. And I don't think they ever found the boat or any bodies. Very sad. My grandfather was lost at sea. He was in the Doris. In the Doris. My grandfather was lost at sea. He was in the Doris.
On average, I suppose you'd lose 1 a year at least, you know, and then that meant that anything from 10 to 20 families were affected. So it was a bit devastating, really, for the people of Fleetwood.
He was in the Doris. In the Doris. There was no trace. There's no trace of the boat or the bodies. Or the bodies.
In the blood. In the blood. Fishing's in the blood. In the blood.
Now, you're never ill aboard a trawler till you die. And when you die, they turn around and say, "Oh, I didn't believe he was as ill as that." Now, this chap, he kept on sitting down, you know. He was that weak with this illness. And the skipper kept on shouting off the bridge, "What do you think you were doing, you know? Get up and get working again." In the end, he sat down. So he said, "I'll show you." And he dashes down off the wheelhouse, and he lifts this man up, and he fills a basket with fish. And he put a knife in his hand, and he said, "Now there you are, you sat down, get gutting that fish." And all of a sudden, this chap just keeled over. And the mate goes forward to look at it. He said, "See what's up with him?" And he said, "He's dead, skipper." He said, "He's died." And the next minute, there's all kinds of abusive language coming out of the wheelhouse. And the mate said, "What's the matter, skipper? What's the matter?" "What's the matter?" He said, "I've never seen anything like that in my life." He said, "Why? What do you mean?" He said, "I've never seen anybody as lazy as that. He'd sooner die than gut that basket of fish." That was the black humour at sea, that one. He said, "He's dead, skipper." He said, "He's died." He said, "He's dead, skipper." He said, "He's died." He said, "He's dead, skipper." He said, "He's died." He said, "He's dead, skipper." Black humour. All kinds of abusive language coming out of the wheelhouse. Out of the wheelhouse. Coming out. He said, "He's dead, skipper." He said, "He's died." Black humour. all kinds of abusive language coming out of the wheelhouse. Out of the wheelhouse. Coming out. It's an sensitive. It's an bad. He said, I've never seen anybody, never seen anybody. He said, I've never seen anybody as lazy as that. As lazy as that. He'd sooner died than got that basket of fish. He'd sooner died than got that basket of fish. He said, he's dead. He said, he's died. He said, he's died. He said, he's died. Black humour. Black humour. Black humour.
There was a real comradeship here, wasn't there? And there was a lot of fun, wasn't there? You know, a lot of laughing and joy. You can imagine. If you didn't have a sense of humour, you wouldn't last long,
You wouldn't be on
you?
here.
Yeah.
11, 12, 13, 14, and I started being a fisherman at 15. But I loved it, absolutely loved it. Just nice, 2 o'clock in the morning, try to gut a fish or try to, I don't know, it's just different, seeing things different. You know, you might be towing past, I don't know, whales or just things what you used to see and think, oh, if I was stuck at home now, I wouldn't be seeing anything like that. And the wildlife and all the gannets diving down as the cod hens were coming up and, you were just so happy. 2 o'clock in the morning, towing past whales. 2 o'clock in the morning, try to gut a fish. Just things what you used to see and think, towing past whales. Just things what you used to see and think. But I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Different. Different. Seeing things different. And the wildlife and all the gannets diving down as the cod hens were coming up and, yeah. Towing past whales. But I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Just things what you used to see and think, just so happy. You were just so happy. You were just so happy. So happy. 2 o'clock in the morning. Towing past Wales. 2 o'clock in the morning. So happy.
We're a unique community up at the end of a cul-de-sac, and over the whole story of Fleetwood, most people in Fleetwood worked hard for the living. It was predominantly, as the phrase is, a blue-collar town, where wages were never great, and where people had to work hard physically in difficult conditions, none more so, of course, than the fishermen. But even on the docks in wintertime, that was a very tough place to work, a very tough place.
Yeah.
And that has created a certain character in Fleetwood, because although so much of this has gone, you know, we give talks, we take groups of school children around the town, we tell them about things that used to happen here, so much of which has gone. But what we like to say to them, and what we really believe, is that there are certain things that you can take from all this and apply to your life now in the present day, i.e. Courage. A fisherman, it was a very dangerous job, so a trawlerman had to have courage. He had to have fortitude, and so had the guys and the women, and there were quite a few women, who worked on the dock. Fortitude to cope with the difficulties and the tough conditions. Worked hard for the living. Hard for the living. A blue-collar town. Blue-collar town. Worked hard for the living. Hard for the living. A blue-collar town. Blue-collar town. Where people had to work hard physically. None more so than the fishermen. Worked hard for the living. Hard for the living. For the living. But even on the docks, worked hard for the living.
If you think of Fleetwood as a melting pot of all those different trades that went with it, boilermakers, riggers and all the other things. Linked with that you had the railway industry and trades that went with it. So you had quite a mixture of skills and types of people in Fleetwood, and it just made us down the years as people who we don't give up so easy.
He had to have fortitude to cope with the difficulties, with the difficulties. Had to have courage. The guys and the women who worked on the dock. The guys and the women. Fortitude to cope with the difficulties
It's a working class town, and that side of things has obviously rubbed off on the town.
Going back, I'd love to have been in its heyday when the fishing trade was going. I mean, I've seen clips and photographs, wow.
You've got to be resilient, you've got to be able to stand things that come your way and to carry on, and that is very much, I think, a characteristic of the people of this town.
Worked hard for the living. Worked hard for the living. A blue collar town. A blue collar town. Worked hard for the living. Worked hard for the living. A blue collar town. A blue collar town. Worked hard for the living. Worked hard for the living. A blue collar town. A blue collar town. Worked hard for the living. Worked hard for the living. A blue collar town. A blue collar town. But even on the docks, docks.
I remember the winter of '62, I think it was, and this dock that we're in now was frozen solid. It was that cold, the guys who were filleting were dipping their hands in, and then in warm water, and then in the ice water to fillet the fish. They mustn't have been out of field their hands.
I was born in Fleetwood on the 1st of September 1928 in a small house in Kent Street, number 42 Kent Street, which was a real old part of Fleetwood. I remember all the friends we had there. There was quite a few little corner shops then that I don't have now, and we used to play in North Church Street, a gang of boys and girls, and we played the real old-fashioned games. We used to play in North Church Street. In North Church Street. In North Church Street. I love Fleetwood. I love Fleetwood. I remember all the friends we had there. I remember all the friends we had there. We played games. played games, the real old-fashioned games. I remember all the friends we had there. We played games. The real old-fashioned games.
Growing up in Fleetwood was lovely, real sense of community. We all played together, stayed together, you know, looked after each other. It was lovely. You know, you could go out and play and not have to worry.
So you sat on the sea wall where the lower light is until the Isle of Man boat came in, you know, and so it was. And that's what you did, then you'd run home. Nobody had a clock on you. You used to look up into the sky and say, must be tea time. And you could run across the cornfields. I did tell my mother that, because you weren't allowed to run across cornfields, you know. If you damaged crops in them days, you got a really good hiding. But life was good in the fact that I always thought I had nothing until I met other people.
We used to play in North Church Street. In North Church Street, in North Church Street, we used to play in North Church Street. In North Church Street, in North Church Street, I love Fleetwood. 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 When I was a child, we went down to the beach regularly, about 5 or 6 of us. We played games on the beach, we ran around, we had a really good time. I say with no money, but we thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. Happy times, yes. I remember this hall in 1935 as a child. It seems like a very long time ago. We weren't allowed to dance in the Marine Hall till you were 16. That would be with me 1944 that I had my first dance. My 2 sisters brought me. Well, in the end, I think I might have been a better dancer than my sisters, especially after I got married. Plenty of practice.
My Fleetwood adventure started nearly 20 years ago, and everywhere I've lived it was mostly 9 years, except for here, and this is the longest I've ever lived in one place, nearly 20 years. And it looks like this is where I'm going to stay, so there's plenty going on, and people don't realise that Fleetwood is a little gem, a secret gem. Yeah, it's got a lot going for it. I mean, we have locals coming every day. You know, I know them by name, Peter, you know, Eddie, and you know, I know where they sit, and it's great, you know, it really is. And so it's really nice, and I think it's just a friendly place. It's quaint and friendly. Nearly 20 years ago, my Fleetwood adventure started nearly 20 years ago. I think it's just a friendly place. I think it's just a friendly place.
Fleetwood is family. It's one big family. It's a close-knit community. If anyone needs help, there's people to help. You can walk down the street and you don't know who the person is and they just say, "Morning, are you okay?" You don't need to know the people and they still speak to you.
It's a good community. I find that people tend to stick together. It's just a lovely place to be.
They take the time out of their day to stop and just have a chat with you and just ask you how you are.
I think it's just the people are friendly. We're so friendly.
I think it's just a friendly place. I think it's just a friendly place. And so it's really nice, really nice, and so it's really nice.
Well, Fleetwood's warm and friendly and everybody's welcome.
And so it's really nice, really nice, and so it's really nice, really nice.
But mainly it's a warmth. It is a warmth in the people. Something in the water.
I like living in Fleetwood because it's such a friendly place and everyone's really kind.
We live opposite the Memorial Park and there's a real sense of community spirit with all the neighbours in the area, isn't there, Leanne? We were made really welcome.
Everyone that you speak to, they're just going to want to be nice, and it's just it's such a small community and it's just, we're all happy.
I think it's just a friendly place. A friendly place. A friendly place.
Fleetwood people are community spirited. They're friendly, they're helpful, everybody wants to get involved. If there's an opportunity where somebody can help somebody else, you'll find a Fleetwood person there.
I love Fleetwood to death, genuinely do. Main thing is it's the community. Everybody just pulls together, genuinely.
And you just see it all the time. You see different people welcoming people in. You just got to experience it really to understand it.
It's great, you know. It really is. It's great, you know. It really is. It really is.
We came from Bulgaria, December 2013. Fleetwood is my new home. It is my home, it is my country now. Will be a long time, I think. And we are happy, I think, now.
This is where I'm going to stay. Where I'm going to stay. This is where I'm going to stay. Where I'm going to stay.
Fleetwood is my sanctuary. Yeah. Fleetwood is a place I go when everything's busy and I can come and I can walk on the front and look at the sea and the calm. And I do that quite often on my way into work. So I drive to work, I sit on the front and have a cup of tea or a hot chocolate, and just that view out to Wire Light is gorgeous, and you don't get that anywhere else. It's really nice. That's Fleetwood's my sanctuary, yeah. It's a place I go when everything's busy, when I can walk on the front, look at the sea. It's really nice. It's really nice. Fleetwood's my sanctuary. Fleetwood's my sanctuary. My sanctuary, yeah. Everybody's friendly. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody talks to everyone. Everyone smiles. There's so much to do. The seafront down there most weekends with my little boy. It doesn't cost anything to go there. And it's so nice, yeah. That's what makes Fleetwood a good place. And if we're looking after it, my little boy will take his children, won't he, one day? And yeah, they're the bits of Fleetwood that we love, and they're the bits that we always come back for. Fleetwood's my sanctuary. Fleetwood's my sanctuary. My sanctuary, yeah. I'm here every weekend with my children, yeah. If I ask my little boy what he wants to do at the weekend, he can guarantee he says, I want to go to the beach. I want to go to the beach kiosk, I want to get an ice cream and go on the beach. That would be his answer every time. Or he wants to go on his bike and ride up the front, and I think people don't appreciate that. But we do, we love it. It's there and we make the most of it. Fleetwood's my sanctuary. My sanctuary. Fleetwood's my sanctuary. Fleetwood's my sanctuary. My sanctuary. Fleetwood's my sanctuary. Fleetwood is a place I go when everything's busy, when I can walk on the front, look at the sea. It's really nice. It's really nice.
Fleetwood is a very special place for me and for many of my friends. It's a place where people have a lot of pride. They like to be associated with the town name, and it's a place which I think embodies resilience. It's a place where people are very loyal, and they're loyal to their friends and they're loyal to the name of the town. Most people have seen it in better times, and I think they yearn for a return to some of those successful days when it was a very much more prosperous place. But I think people at the end of the day always feel that it's going to be revived in some way, and they live in the hope that that will be the case, particularly for their children, because that's what we're talking about now. It's not about us, it's about the children of the town from the high schools, and what are they going to do in the future, as with everything. But you're hoping that they're going to have a future that they can enjoy and bring up their families in a safe, lovely seaside location. It's about the children. In the future. It's about the children. The children. It's about the children. The children. Of a future. Of a future.
I'm Mark Spencer, I'm a GP at the Mountain View practice in Fleetwood, and I was one of the people that helped set Healthier Fleetwood up March 2016, and we're on a real wave now. We've got a real momentum in the town where the community spirit that Fleetwood used to have is returning, and residents are starting to look after residents. But it's also tapping into the power of the individual, the power of the resident. Oh, it's been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Pretty much anything that you can name the residents want to get involved in. And it's about bringing hope to our residents that their lives can be better. And there's a great feeling now across the town.
their children. Children. Their children.
We're targeting the future. The future.
Going forward. Forward. Going forward.
The future is bright. The club's onwards motto, as you can see on the club, on the badge there, that's actually the town's motto. And the club itself has embedded that, and throughout the club, from the community trust to the first team, to drive people forward. To drive people forward.
When I'm older, I would like to be a singer.
When I'm older, I would like to be a police officer.
When I'm older, I'd like to be a teacher.
Onwards.
It's about the children. The children. It's about the children. The children. Of a future. Of a future. It's about the children. The children. Their children. Their families. It's about the children. The children. Their children. The future, and bring up their families in a safe, lovely seaside location where they can enjoy all the benefits that we have as children from a unique place. A unique place. A unique place. A unique place.